pleasure to follow the toilet guy. Great. I'm hoping to get some really good questions in about 10 minutes or maybe less. So many of you may know that we're working on these historic agreements that are to set Oakland's course for the next 20 years. Waste management will be providing I'm just going to jump right into it. Waste management is going to be providing the collection and processing services for residential and commercial mixed materials, what we used to call garbage, and organics. They'll also be providing the landfill disposal capacity at the Altamont landfill. California Waste Solutions will be providing single-family and multifamily recycling citywide. East Bay Mud and Civicor have roles too, and I'll get to them in a bit. All right, here's some of the features. Oaklanders will see all new CNG powered trucks throughout the city. They're cleaner, they're quieter, and they're going to be more efficient single compartment trucks. Now, Waste Management's trucks that are collecting the mixed materials and the organics will run on CNG that is produced here in Alameda County. It's not fracked, it's not piped in, it's manufactured right here in Alameda County. Where does it come from, you may ask? It's coming from the Altamont landfill and the refinery up there. And Waste Management tells us that they have 30 years capacity of pulling fuel out of that landfill without adding any of Oakland's organics, because we're all about keeping the organics out. Just want to address that question right off the top. Some other features of the new contracts. Multifamily organics will be collected as a routine franchise service. Multifamily bulky pickup will now be routinely available. We've restructured multifamily rates to lower the minimum mandatory service, provide more service options, and be more transparent in our pricing. All cart sizes are going to be available for all services. I think this is going to be really popular. I think the most popular cart is going to be the 20-gallon green cart for those homes that don't generate a lot of yard trimmings but want to recycle food scraps, HOAs, etc. So small issue, but I think it's going to be very impactful. We're going to have 4 bulky item drop-off events every year. First one will be on Saturday, November 4th. Mark your calendars. Sorry, Oakland residents only. All right, some big ticket items around franchise, around diversion. This whole construct is about keeping organics out of the landfill. That's how we designed it. The main franchise contract has mixed materials and organics. And we married those together because the idea is to move one from the other. And that one company doing it wouldn't have a net loss of business through success. So they're going to have all of that business, but they need to move the organics out of the mixed materials. But in whole, they've got all of that material as a billable. That's the basic construct. The franchise requires Waste Management to get the organics out or they don't get all their money. Now, it doesn't say that exactly in the contract. The provisions are a little more complex than that. They're actually a lot more complex than that, but that's essentially what it is. And they have to do it at the rates that they committed to. So we won't be in the future deciding between new recycling programs and rate increases. This is a full freight type of deal that they had to sign on to. This was part and parcel of the procurement and the competitive procurement in the RFP process. And they have to achieve these annual recycling goals for the materials that they collect. And let me just be clear, these are the materials that they handle. This has got nothing to do with 8939, pounds per person per day, extrapolated out to some diversion number. It's got nothing to do with that. All right, Waste Management will also continue to do its very successful dry commercial separation of commercial loads, front-end loader loads. The contract provides for $1.5 million of an outreach effort, $1.5 million in 2015. Those recycling coordinators out there, that's a lot of money. And then $750,000 in every year for the rest of the term. what we have here is not just 20 years of curbside service. We have a 20-year, fully funded behavior modification program. There'll be boots on the grounds, billboards in the sky, and apps on your iPhone. I can tell you that this campaign is going to be very fresh, very Oakland in content and in the modality. And I don't think you'll have seen anything like it. And it won't end. It's a franchise service, just like picking up recyclables. But Peter, you may say, it's only 105 days and 12 hours until the July 1st start of the contracts, and I haven't seen any outreach yet. We planned for an 18-month outreach wind-up that would have started in 2014, and it really hasn't ended up that way. But the good news is that the $1.5 million in that first year, it's all going to be spent. It'll all be spent this year. Maybe it'll bleed over, but all that money is intact. And we really are, a year or two from now, nobody's going to remember if we spent it 18 months before, 3 months before, during. This is an ongoing, rolling, 20-year program. All right, let's talk a little bit about commercial organics. Commercial organics will be included in the exclusive franchise for the first time in Oakland. Civicor will be providing the collection services, running, I think, 3 routes, and in a very innovative job training program that will matriculate Civicor job trainees into the ranks of Teamster drivers. You may already know that commercial organics will go to East Bay Mud, where they will be pre-processed, then digested to make fuel to combust for electricity. But not on July 1, because they won't have their pre-processing facility built. The city has given them 1 year to build their facility. I want to talk a little bit more about East Bay Mud because this is behind-the-scenes stuff that you might not always hear about or see. They originally proposed to send the residue, that is the digestate left over from the anaerobic digestion, to landfill as alternative daily cover. Heard alternative daily cover talked about earlier today. And Oakland has a lot of alternative daily cover generated within, or I should say shipped from, because it's really generated, comes in from all over. And it's sort of a behind-the-scenes look. So, however, placement in or on a landfill as ABC, beneficial reuse, or any other thing does not meet the city's recycling standard. It just don't meet the standard. So, East Bay Mud, thank you. East Bay Mud will send its digestate to land application. Probably all of its digestate. That's because currently the digestate from food scraps and the digestate or biosolids from its wastewater treatment plant are mixed together and probably, maybe not, in the future. If it does continue to be mixed, none of it can go to landfill, and all of it must be land applied. That's the deal. So the silver lining, maybe it's a brown lining, is that around 50,000 tons of biosolids that are currently going to landfill will be or may be land applied, and also about 15,000 tons per year of commercial food scraps may be, never will be composted. So is this a good thing? I think it's interesting, and I leave it to you to consider. It could change if East Bay Mud chooses to invest in the equipment that would keep those materials separate, and the digestate from the food scraps could then be composted. All right, perhaps the most radical feature about the Oakland contract is our philosophy, or the way is our departure from the philosophy of recycling saves. It's our pricing philosophy. We kept our hands off pricing, very far away from it in the procurement process. We made no conditions on it, and the result is that commercial organics collection service and commercial recycling rates are not going to be very much lower than garbage rates. We wanted to get past garbage rates subsidizing artificially low recycling rates and organics rates. And boy, I think we succeeded. There's going to be sticker shock. There's going to be a lot of sticker shock, I'm just telling you. And it is a grand experiment, but mandatory, that you heard about this morning, that's what makes this work. In a community where you don't have the mandate, I think that having these artificially low prices and the recycle save money, all of that is still the way to go. But I'd like you all to think about a mandate and how that really can change the way you price this. Imagine a world in which every service pays full freight and there's a mandate and we get away from these very distorted markets. I've only told you about the exclusive franchises. Moving forward, we're going to have our open market, non-exclusive C&D franchise system and our open market commercial recycling system. Perhaps I'll get invited back here to talk about those sometime. Thank you.